the extent of wokeness was a delusion created by social media.
Oh,
yeah.
I agree. Clock that.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's not going out of fashion. It was never in fashion.
It was never in fashion.
You didn't eat that.
It's just a small...
You ate that. They didn't eat that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Things You Can't Touch. This is the only podcast where philosophy meets the real world. And today, our very, 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 very special guest is a queer. And she is a finalist human, social and political sciences student specializing in sociology at the University of Cambridge. Passionate about social justice, she contributes to the transformative change through her work with the Black curriculum, ultimately advocating for Black history to be taught nationwide. Finally, beyond academia, she's also a hairstylist and the proud owner of the Double A Touch. Did you hear that? The Double A Touch. The handles will be in the description. Everyone should make sure that they check it out. It's never too much. It's never too much when you're so talented. Also, I just wanted to add something, guys. She's been here before. We are.
Guys,
you've been here before. Literally, it's been a long time coming.
It's been too long,
and I don't know why, but you're back. There's a new setup. Like
literally, everything's different. Right,
everything's different. Yeah. Everything's changed. If you want to see more of her, you should definitely go and check out episode 2. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's actually crazy.
That's so far down.
No,
yeah. We'll be scrolling.
Because
okay.
this is what I think this is gonna
full
be.
circle moment.
Yeah, it's gonna be like episode 24.
I'm so excited though because you never tell us.
I never tell you the question, and I hope you like it. I feel like you will. Let me stop stalling.
Okay.
It's time for me to move on to the question. Woo! Okay.
I can't stop smiling.
Yeah, because you have to smile, you have to breathe.
Wow.
And it's like, in fact, let me not tell you how to go into the question. The question is, are we too woke? Where do we begin?
The world began to shake.
Wow. You know, there's so much to say.
There's
this question belongs to you. I will let
can
you
I
take
say something?
You
know, so weird. I just what's the word? Debated doing this as my dissertation.
Oh my god!
Genuinely, it was gonna be a topic.
So that means it's been on the thought.
So
this can be like your verbal, what do they call it? Video essay.
Yeah.
Video essay.
I don't want to do it too video essay. This is philosophy.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's similar to what you do, politics, sociology.
Something.
We're definitely going to get into it.
We will. Let me just sort of play.
Yeah, go on.
Are you too woke? Who's the we in question? I know you like that type of stuff.
No, that's really good.
Who's we?
No, that's good. Oh my gosh, that's good.
Thanks.
No, that's good. Sorry. When I was thinking we generally, as a global society.
Of all ages? Or
wow, I'm even gonna touch on that, but you could go into it however you so choose it is. That's what I was gonna say. That's even the question I have here. How do we even interpret the question?
Okay. So, go ahead.
Because I was gonna say, should we think about it generally right now, or in fact, no, you make your statement and you can make it as specific as you want to. Because I feel like I know exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Go forth.
I feel like let's take our generation because I can only speak from my standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I would say yeah. But even when we think about woke, are we using woke in the sense of how the older generation see us as, we're too knowy and we think we know everything, woke, or woke as in we just have too much awareness of global issues.
Mm-hmm.
So either or, I would say it's still yes. The answer is yes.
Okay.
Let me leave it there for now.
No, that's fine. I was literally going to say, I think we're going to touch on all different, every single aspect of work.
Yes and no. Thank you.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes to what and no to what.
I think we're too woke in an aspect of we have too much access to certain information, but also not enough.
Okay.
Because as you're going to see, in the last episode, Wahida was touching on, the idea that we have a lot of surface level information, or you see a lot of information on Instagram, and just because someone is posting a lot, you might see a lot of specific posts, but doesn't mean you have information on it because you're just seeing it. You're not really taking it in. You're not really learning anything new. Wow. So yes, in terms of we have awareness, surface level, but if we actually deep it, what do we actually know?
Exactly.
So yes and no. Yeah.
This is literally everything that we're going to touch on.
Yeah.
We're going to take it step by step. We're going to break it down so we can guide you in the, correct direction. The first thing I want to ask is, like, obviously we've addressed how we interpret the question, like, partially. There's so much more that we can go into, which we will. But I think what we need to unpack, which you already touched on slightly, is what is, like, wokeness. So the two ideas that you touched on, just to clarify for the people listening, is wokeness in the sense of we're too knowing to the older generation, or we're too knowing in general.
I think we're too knowing in general.
Too knowing in general. Yeah. And then we're too politically aware of social issues. Great. Now, sorry, I need to make sure that I arrange the way I'm going through it. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think we should go through the backdrop. Let's go through the backdrop of where the notion of wokeness actually comes from. Do you know where the idea of being woke comes from?
Not philosophically. So
it's not even a philosophical
just
concept.
In general.
Yeah.
In my head, when I think of wokeness, I think of BLM. I don't know if that's the origin, but like
basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the thing. And I feel like the fact that it's become so skewed is something that we're also going to touch on. So, woke is an African American word that has been used since around the 1930s to refer to awareness of social and political issues affecting African Americans. So it was specific to African Americans. So when they say like stay woke, that's the reason. They're talking about issues that pertain to them.
Yeah.
But recently it has turned into a word that is used to describe the general promotion of liberal progressive ideology and policy as an expression of sensitivity to systematic injustices and prejudices. That was a lot. But I think I feel like that's really, really interesting to me, the way that it has like changed, because to me it's like now it's being categorized as a school of thought. People think of wokeism. That's exactly what it is. People think of it as like wokeism because this is just another typical case of African American vernacular turning into something that is used trivially and globally for everyone. And I find that interesting because it's like something that like signifies and refers to significant oppression has turned into, oh, let's not eat animals. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Like veganism.
Yeah. Literally veganism. Yeah. That's exactly what I had in mind. So in my head is like, I think the question I'm asking is it right to associate wokeness in that sense? Is it right to associate wokeness in that sense with like everything liberal?
I feel like I'm gonna say yes, but I'm gonna explain because I feel like with wokeism, even the idea of being woke, the whole concept was just like we need to wake up to oppression or we need to wake up to like the reality of the world. And obviously that originated from like civil rights activists, I can assume. But now like people don't see race as like people still do, but I think in the grand scheme of things, we all understand that racism exists. Yeah. And we all understand that racism is very much like real. So I feel like that's not really a trivial topic that it used to be, or like people weren't are not pioneering for it as much now as they were before. So now it's like broadened up, like let's just be woke with everything. And I feel like it became a very like left-leaning concept to be woke or to understand things. And that's why we hear like older generations be like, oh, this person's a snowflake. Exactly. Because like wokeism is now everything that is like wrong with the world, we need to wake up and like understand.
Which is why I'm saying, are we too woke? Are we now beginning to turn trivial things into political concepts? Like little things, we're now making it bigger than it is and throwing the word woke on it to make it seem like, oh yeah, this is something that everybody should care about. No, that's just your opinion. And I think that's something else that I'm going to touch on. But before we get there, so that I can allow your brain to... Because I can see your brain sizzling.
I'm thinking, yeah.
There, I have a statement.
Okay.
And you have to say, how far do you agree?
Okay.
I like to play little games.
Little games. Yeah.
Wokeness is a Western privilege. How far do you agree?
One thing about this place and Western privilege is that like, are they sponsoring you to say that? Or?
I think it's because I learned it recently. No, because I had to really gather my thoughts as to where it came from. Yeah. But I learned it recently and I was like, that word is a banger.
Is wokeism a Western privilege? I feel like any type of, let me not generalize for they drag me, but a lot of like awarenesses or being able to be like, actually, this is wrong, is a privilege in of itself.
I agree with
especially
you
if it doesn't directly impact you. Now, the reason I say this is because, like,
that's good.
When we think of issues that people want to raise awareness of, it's not an issue, it's life or death. So, like, for example, let's take
this is good.
Palestine for now. Like, that's something that's on social, especially my type of social media that I consume. It's now being like very much widespread. Everyone knows the situation going on. Cool. For Palestinians in Gaza, this is not them being woke. Them like recording and putting on there that this is what's happening with Israel. This is what's going on.
They're bombing us.
Literally, the genocide is literally occurring
right now.
For them, that's not, I'm being woke and I'm raising awareness. This is life or death. If they don't speak up, they could possibly die, which a lot of them have. So like, us kind of having this position of, oh, I'm raising awareness, quote unquote, or I'm speaking on issues, because wokeism takes
across the world.
I feel like modern day wokeism takes a certain level of like armchair approach.
You're touching on every single point that I'm ready to touch on.
Well, you're just sitting back and you're like, okay, this is a problem. Like, either do something or like, let's talk about, let's raise awareness. But evidently, it's not your directly, like, it's not a threat to your life. It's not imminent right anyways. So yeah, that's why I see it as a Western privilege, because like, you even having the ability to sit on like a platform and be like, oh, this is the case, this is what we need to advocate for, and then slapping, oh, I'm so woke. It's like, okay, great.
I think the reason why I brought that up is because I think the concept of wokeness has become skewed. Because as you said, it's a matter of life and death. The origin of it was a matter of like a group of people preserving their livelihood. Because the truth is, if we don't wake up to the systemic oppression, if we don't wake up to the way we're being treated in this country, it's possible that we're going to end up in positions that we're not going to be quite pleased with. Not even in, oh, I'm in a 4-bedroom house and you're in a 5. No, like, my life is literally at risk. So it's like, to get from that point to any random person using the word woke on the internet to talk about stuff like veganism, and then the people using wokeness to justify their protest with Just Stop Oil, it's just like, maybe we're a bit too woke. Do you know what I mean?
But the reason why I don't want to say it in this like black or white, or we are too woke, because some people genuinely believe it's life or death. Like, some people, for example, let's take veganism, for example. People who genuinely believe that animals should be on the same level as human beings, they think like, if they don't advocate for the animals are going to die and we're going to eat them. And that's what's happening. So like, I understand we can sit from a certain position and be like, oh, like, it's not that deep. But for some people, it literally is. The same way, like, they're wrong, by the way, they're wrong. But, like, certain white people who see it as, oh, people BLM and, like, always BLM, but what about all lives? That whole argument can be brought up in the same conversation and just be like, oh, but it's not that deep. Like, I've heard crazy arguments of, like, oh, if black people stop doing certain things, then the police wouldn't kill them.
Oh!
And, like, they genuinely agree with that and think that that's okay to spew. But then people who are vegans can say that, are saying that, oh, they're too woke. It's also like, what the heck? So I just feel like it depends on your perspective, on where you're standing from.
When I say too woke, I think I'm referring to the fact that this is an issue that you can have because of the position that you're in. Yeah, this is literally an issue that you can have because of the position that you're in. If you're in a country where, like, there's literally famine. If it's a cow that you will eat, it will be a cow you're going to eat. So it's like, because of the position that you're in, you have the opportunity to begin to be woke about things that's like, to other people, it's not that it's trivial. It's just that I am not in a position to be a vegan. Do you know how expensive veganism is?
So damn expensive. Fresh produce is literally not cheap.
So damn expensive.
That is classist in
and
itself.
I think, right?
Right?
And it's just like, it's gonna sound crazy. I think that's the other thing I wanted to touch on very quickly. It's gonna sound crazy to say, oh my gosh, yeah, we're too woke, because wokeness has a lot of positive connotations to it within the realm of people knowing what woke is, if that makes sense. And that is something that we're literally gonna move on to later. I feel like I lost my train of thought, but I feel like I ended what I was going to say.
No, I think,
I mentioned the side note, which I said, it's funny how something that was literally for the liberation of black people has turned into like a game. Because I feel like some things is like, I don't want to call it white issues, because it's not solely white people, because class is
Issues
also
of
involved.
privilege.
Issues of thank you, because sometimes I don't have the vocabulary.
Yeah.
How you need to quote injustice is real.
Right.
I don't have the
Whatever that
vocabulary.
means.
Oh my gosh, how you need to quote injustice.
I literally used to hear people throwing it about, but I don't know what that
Hermeneutical
means.
injustice basically outlines the idea that you're experiencing something. No, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're experiencing something, but you can't put
Put
a
your-
word to
okay,
it
yeah,
because the system has like stopped you from being able to do that. So when women were experiencing sexual harassment,
They didn't know
couldn't
that's what it
label
was called.
because it was a patriarchy. So do you get
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe hermeneutical injustice is a bit of a drag because
No,
it wasn't
but
a
I hear
systemic
it.
reason. But yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, there were barriers to entry
Yeah.
to learning those types of
to
things.
learning
Yeah,
that word.
It's fine.
Right. So yeah, I think it's interesting that it's turned into a game for those who are privileged, because it's like I feel like people who are privileged always want to be oppressed.
Oppression Olympics.
Oppression
As they
Olympics.
say.
And it's like now you lot are jumping on the word woke so that you can
have something to talk about.
like be part of the game. Now you want to play. And it's like the truth is it wasn't the issues are not veganism. That's not what we're addressing, because and I think that's also where you're now taking attention away from things that really matter, because the issue of race is not solved. The genocide is not solved. There are issues that this like concept came from and represents that are not solved, and now we're looking at veganism. And it's like, I'm really sorry. I'm not saying that vegan, like people who are vegan are not worth anything in the world. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that genuinely there are bigger issues at hand. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
If I'm allowed, because I just have to.
Because you said it. Right.
But if you don't agree, you can, in fact, let me know.
No, I agree. I feel like people do this thing where they take attention away from specific topics because it's like, look at me, like I'm not getting attention now.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone's kind of in this weird race to prove that them too, they're not having a good life.
Exactly.
And it's okay. It's literally okay. Like,
okay
I don't know why
to
the
have a
new
good
thing,
life.
the new trend, as our parents
Is
say,
to be
is to
suffering.
be suffering. Like, I don't understand.
Like,
Because those suffering are not enjoying the suffering.
they're not having fun, but it's like because of the attention that they get.
Yeah,
it
they
seems
all of
like
a sudden seem to
okay.
be enjoying it, but they don't.
Anyway,
That's the truth.
that leads me on to the next question, which is gonna lead to the rest of the conversation.
Yeah.
Which is wokeness anti-conservative? Wow. That's so real.
What?
She said, "What was you?"
Like, what would you call? What is wokeness anti-conservative? What did the two have in common? What's going on?
Okay. So, with the election,
Sorry, I had to blink.
you don't understand the
I'm so
concept that
confused.
at play right now.
I'm so confused.
Okay. Does the
Wait,
concept...
I need to...
Okay, I'll give you a minute.
Is wokeness anti-conservative? So the concept of like waking up and being conscious about certain issues, is it messing with the status quo? Or is that a different explanation of conservative?
Not
As in like
you
the
can-
political concept of conservatism.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm touching on.
I would like you to continue so I have more like... Because I've never been more confused.
For example, somebody said to me,
Okay.
with the re-election of Donald Trump, is this indicative of wokeness coming out of fashion? Because it seems like
okay, I'm getting where you're coming from.
So like it's like a lot of things that Trump stands for
Is the opposite
is
of
literally the
wokeness.
opposite of wokeness. So that's why I use the word conservative, and maybe conservatism wasn't the right word in that context.
I was just confused.
Okay,
It
cool.
is like conservative thought. Like
So
how
it is,
it is right.
it is
I was just
anti-conservative
confused. Yeah.
in that sense. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to the question: is wokeness anti-conservative?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Okay, I actually don't. Reload that. It is. It inherently is though, because conservative. That's why I asked you if you're talking about status quo, because conservatism.
I feel like it couldn't be. I think it's applicable to both.
Yeah, I was just trying to see like what part of it you were talking about, but conservatives believe in maintaining the status quo, and like if we go back historically, the people who like where woke originated from, they were disrupting that because they were advocating for equality, and the status quo at the time was white people on top, black people at the bottom.
Yep.
So
and everyone was segregated.
yeah, so I feel like inherently it has to be anti-conservative, because I'm not trying to conserve what is here. We're trying to change it and make it more equal. But I feel like if you're talking about conservatism today, which still has those same sentiments, but it's more like right-leaning, I feel like wokeism now is inherently linked to the left and liberalism, and like I can't think of woke right-leaning individuals. I don't see how that makes sense, especially in today's society where wokeism is almost taken for a joke. Like the wider society feel like even this discussion is like we're not taking wokeism seriously. Yeah, because when you think of woke, you think of Oppression Olympics, so you think of people like complaining about stuff.
Now because of the people who decided to enlist themselves into the conversation.
Definitely.
Sorry, please do.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, I just feel like now, especially like you said with Trump, and we're seeing a lot of far right anyways rising up in certain parts of Europe. No one really gives a heck about what woke, quote unquote, woke individuals care about, because like it's seen as a joke. So yeah,
I think what I want to say is, I feel like that was a leading question because I already knew what my response was going to be. so I just wanted to hear, not even, I just wanted to hear what you had to say, because I feel like a lot of people are going to resonate with what you just said. But I thought about it and I was like, I agree that it's wow. I need to remind myself. I agree that it's anti-conservative, but I don't think that Trump's re-election is indicative of wokeness coming out of fashion. Okay. I don't think wokeness is coming out of fashion.
Okay, what do you think?
What I think is that the extent of wokeness was a delusion created by social media.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Clock that.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Yeah. It's not going out of fashion. It was never in fashion.
It was never in fashion.
You didn't eat that.
It's just a small...
You ate that. They didn't eat that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
There's just a small group of people who have ended up in an echo chamber with themselves because social media works with an algorithm. Yeah. Now you think everybody agrees with you and your wokeism and your wokeness. Yeah. And the truth is, like, you're probably less than 1%. Yeah. And there's a lot of the world. Yeah. And that is why Trump won.
But do you know I need to, like, clock there? I don't even think it's, like... the woke, quote unquote, people that are trying to like sensationalize themselves. I think the right side of politics, I'm not left or right, please, I'm just saying objectively. The right side of politics likes to sensationalize certain things so that they can make it, what's that word? They can ridiculize it. Ridicule?
Oh, this is good. Ridicule. Ridiculize is crazy. Ridicule?
No.
Ridicule?
You mix a lot of words.
Radicalize.
No, ridicule.
I was thinking of radicalize and now mixed it with ridiculize. I was thinking of scrutinize. I know but Shakespeare made up English. We're calling bedroom, so don't talk about making up English. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
We need to unpack all three of those words because I feel like what you just said is something that I never deeped. The right know what they did.
Exactly, because it's easy to like make something popular.
Ridiculized and radicalized.
And radicalized. All the eyes. Three of the eyes.
And it's like, it works.
It works. Because that's what they do. That's the same way they do with like, for example, knife crime in London. Knife crime statistics are not even that high, but we're going to see knife crime, black women, knife crime, black crime. Because it's easy to make something sensationalized so you can turn someone into a scapegoat. It's very easy.
It's just the agenda.
Agenda. Thank you. It's easy to say, oh, wokeism. No, guys, what she's doing behind the camera right now. What she's doing behind the camera right now is so distracting. All my thoughts. I'm
really
trying.
Sorry. Do you need her to?
No, I love it. I love it. Like it. But it's making me to laugh.
You can feel free to laugh.
The agenda.
Thank you. But yeah, it just gives like, it's very easy to say, oh, wokeism is taking over. When like, is like you said, a 1% of the whole of social media and the echo chamber.
The rest of the world. Because not everybody's on social media.
Thank you. But then once you make it, oh my gosh, this is on the rise, this is a problem, you make it a joke. And you're going to pick the worst parts of wokeism. You're going to think of people chaining themselves to parliament to say that we should stop killing goats. And not to say that, hey, the vegans, if they want to be vegan, let them be vegan. But... And people are saying that that's a ridiculous thing to do.
There's also an element of wokeism that is like, you know how people have started like identifying as animals and identifying as objects. And it's like, the truth is, there's a very small percentage of people who do that, one, and who agree with that, two. And it's like, that is what you're going to portray as wokeism. That is what you're going to portray as wokeism. Of course I will be scared, absolutely. I will be fearful, yes. My parents will be fearful, yes. Now I'm going to vote Trump. Yeah. Not me.
Not you.
Take that clip out of context.
Not her.
But it's just like, I understand the process.
The
and I understand the confusion. And I feel like I'm really sad because we need to wake up. Ironically, in a sense of like, our generation transitioned into social media. There is currently a generation who were born into social
and
media
have never seen
and have
the before or the
not
after.
seen, like,
It's just insight.
and that's the thing.
And that
there
scares
is
me.
real life and there's wokeness.
That scares me. And I feel like as well, like, even our gen, a lot of our generations still were born into social media. Like, for example, like 3 years after us, like, 2009 kids, I'm pretty sure when they got here, the internet was very fully fledged and running.
Yeah, I think
so. Like,
I think Apple started doing stuff in like 2008
so
or
for me,
something.
it's like there's still people in our generation that can't differentiate between echo chambers and online and real world. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, there were a group
of their life.
There was a large group of people on TikTok who genuinely, in their heart of hearts, thought Kamala had a fighting chance to completely obliterate Trump. Not only win, but landslide him. In what reality was Trump ever going to lose by a landslide?
Get into politics for real. I'm sorry, no, it's necessary because you lot are delusional. I think it's the delusion. It's the delusion of the wokeness and the echo chamber and everything together on a cauldron. You're just boiling a hot pot of absolute mess. I think they need to hear what I have to say. Because I was even going to say Kamala's campaign was designed to be woke, according to the definition of what wokeness entails.
Oh, Kamala.
And I feel like wokeness has an association with youth and fun and delusion. Yeah. Because Trump won and it wasn't like, I don't know how to explain the English, and it's like the amount of people that was shocked.
Do you know
is shocking.
What bothers me? I feel like our generation think the left is automatically correct. I feel like because there's no such thing of a quote unquote far left, that we think that
so you're
being
jumping
liberal or left is alright.
No,
did I eat that?
I think you did.
Because I feel like the same way there can be far right, there can be a far left.
Absolutely.
And like, it's not because
extremism doesn't work one way.
Thank you. It's not because wokeism is not on the right that is also correct.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, Kamala's whole campaign was very much appealing to the young vote, appealing to women, appealing to black people, and like, even that her policies didn't really reflect that. It was simply just her like political campaign. Why is Megan Thee Stallion singing whatever song at her rally? Why is Glorilla rapping at Kamala's campaign? What has that got to do with politics? And people are like, like, she's so hip, always laughing. That's my president.
There's a line.
I'm sorry, like, what are we talking about?
There's a line. What are we doing? Because politics affects like
real life,
especially the US, whether we like it or not. That is going to affect the globe.
The world.
The globe.
The world.
The globe.
The world.
At the end of the day.
The world.
And it's just like, the truth is, what like the trivialities of the campaign was concerning. And I think what's also concerning is not the fact that people voted for her, but that people voted for that. Do you know what I mean?
And I'm not even coming down on her campaign as a whole. I feel like for the amount of time that she was given, she ate that. Like, she did the best she was given the time that she was given with her campaign. It was what, 100-day campaign? Like, that's quite short. But my thing is, I just feel like when it started becoming popularity contest, she can get the most popular influencer. Like, what are we doing? Like, I understand you're appealing to a specific type of vote, but like, what does she do for you?
Yeah.
Like, what does, like...
I think the problem is we're forgetting what politics is about.
In real life, like you said.
Like, it's like... Politics is politics, not a popularity contest.
But it's become that, unfortunately. And social media has only made it worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But at least before, people used to look at policies and the things that people believed in. Do we know what Kamala promised? But we know Meg Thee Stallion at the end of the day, so that's good.
And Glorilla. Cheers.
I'm glad we got past that. That was great section. I think I want to link back to something that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Does wokeness link? Well, I feel like it does link, but to what extent does wokeness link to the fact that we are a snowflake generation, quote unquote? Snowflake generation is a way of referring to young people who are considered easily upset or offended, even often associated with trigger warnings and safe spaces. So I feel like to some degree the branch or the description of snowflake generation can become like, you're now trivializing issues that should be addressed. But low-key, I hear them when they start mentioning that we're a snowflake generation.
Why?
Because I feel as though, well, it's definitely a shock to them. when they hear that people are actually taking things into consideration, that people are actually second guessing things that used to just be normal. Like, I don't know, there were certain toys that they put out before that literally traumatized children, and it's like now we're looking at that and we're like, okay, yeah, there are certain things that we can't give to children, and they're like, oh no, you lot are just snowflakes. Back in the day, my kids used to drink alcohol and things like this. Like, calm down. Be calm. But I feel like, I think it literally links to what I was saying about like veganism, in a sense of, I think that generation is looking at us like, you lot are in such a privileged position to be complaining about all the stuff that you're complaining about. Back in my day, we had to work hard for this, that, and the third. However, on the other hand, it's just like, does quote unquote soft life mean that
everything is offensive now?
Yeah.
I feel like they have some merit in terms of, it's true. I feel like a lot of people, everything is, oh, is that PC? Is that politically correct? Or is that, should go on in this ABC? But I also feel like we have to give like humanity on the whole level some grace, because of course, if you come from one extreme to another, it's going to seem very polarized, because it went from living in a society where everything was acceptable, like you can harass a woman and that's okay because, hey man, patriarchy, or like,
that's the kind of things that I didn't think about.
No, but you see, like, so for them, it's like, oh, everything went and everything was acceptable. And then now we're in a society where I hear like old elderly complain about not being able to smoke inside or like indoors. And like, you see what I mean? Certain changes that we've gone through as a society, now smoking is banned. Some of us have never ever experienced someone smoking inside of a building, because what's going on? Like, but that used to happen like back in the day. So I understand where it's coming from, where it's like, now we have a society where everything is so policed, or everything is, oh my gosh, and it's like these polar opposites. But I do feel like our generation take everything too hard. And I think in the sense of, now,
really
especially agree. Bringing some sociology, we live in like a society where knowledge is now like dispersed, and like I think you've done an episode on is knowledge power, it's power of knowledge, whatever. And now we see knowledge as power. It's like we kind of weaponize that against everybody else. If you say something, it's like, oh, but I know that's wrong, so let me point this out and be like, I'm offended.
Can I talk about that really quickly?
Yeah, go on.
I don't want to cut you off, but I think this is something that I was mentioning with somebody the other day, and it's just that I think people forget that a lot of ideologies are made up.
This is all fake.
Not even a lot. Everything.
This is all fake.
Every single ideology, somebody sat down and they
was
theorized.
Like, wait, this is this.
And I think the problem is that a lot of people are looking at these theories and like, so intersectionality, for example, even though like it makes so much sense,
they take as gospel.
Yeah.
They stop realizing we're not these are theories. Yeah.
They made they made it up. Interrogate your thoughts. Why do you believe what you believe? Yes. And it's like, when somebody goes against what you're used to, what you're used to being mainstream teaching about, like, the names that we know, Fanon, the Foucaults, the people who come up with these huge theories about being an identity. It's like, once someone goes against that, you're shocked.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that. And I feel like, especially where we've come from that concept of society, everything being permissible, and now we're moving into this is wrong, this is now our new moral code. It's very easy to be like, this is wrong, without actually paying attention to, actually that could just be something that you don't agree with. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like an example that they won't drag me for.
Literally.
Because if I start talking, people are going to take me online and they're going to disgrace me.
Let me try and think of an example that's not draggable.
I'm literally trying to think, but like, there's so many topics.
Maybe we can look at Just Stop Oil.
Okay.
Is that an example? So I feel like a lot of people can understand that the way that it doesn't really ban, because my problem is that
it's not identity politics though. That's just like, oh, I agree, I feel
you
like
see how we're running away from stuff.
You see, because hey,
that's the next thing I want to talk about. Like cancel culture, but we're gonna get there
because that's we want to have a lot to say about.
Wow.
But,
yeah. Okay.
I can't
think of an
let
example
me try. Just give me a second.
I will give you a second. What were you thinking of an example for again? Just to clarify.
Snowflake.
Snowflake ideology.
What? Oh, like
I'm now a prank. I'm not joking. That's okay. Snowflake ideology.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, we both had one at the same time.
Let me land.
Go first, because mine might be cancelable.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We all track.
I've been there before.
Your history. Right. Anyways, so there's been like a lot of debate about if comedians comedians can introduce racist jokes into their comedy.
Yeah, they would have
or quote unquote race.
I want to use my example as well. Sorry.
I'll let you land.
I think you can start that again because it was really rude of me.
It's okay.
You're now tuned into the Things You Can't Touch podcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, this is a philosophy podcast.
So yeah, there's been a lot of debate around like whether comedians should use race in their jokes and if it is dark humor or if it's actually just straight up racist.
Yes.
And I feel like someone was making a comment about if race is being used as like the vehicle to get to the pun, it's not that deep, because if that is the person's genre of joke and then it's like, you know, it's just humor. But other people say this is how we use humor to create ideology, and then, you know, it becomes racism and like it perpetuates all these things. Yeah, all the buzzwords.
When you said it,
it's just like, I feel like I understand both, because in that instance, I agree with the whole idea of like certain jokes are funny.
Yeah.
Don't shoot. They are funny. It might have certain undertones, but they are funny because it's dark humor at the end of the day. And I feel like in our generation, we're trying to cancel things from before and be like, oh, remove this. Or I think Little Britain, they got so many episodes taken off of BBC because, oh, the jokes are like racist now, or like certain things are unacceptable. But when you look back, like, if I just took a critical lens, some of the videos I watched, I was like, this is not that deep.
It's not that serious.
But it's like we live in a society where everybody wants to be offended. And like they say, offence is not given, it's taken. If you take offence, like,
that's your
low-key, that's your business.
At the end of the day.
Because there's certain things that are inherently wrong and there's other things that are just offendable. Offence does not need to now become a structural problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good, guys. Don't let that go over your head.
Thanks.
That one was a banker. The example that I have that they might drag me for, I think this is actually an example of something else we were talking about, which is leftist extremism. You know how people are like, they're not giving their babies pronouns.
Okay. Yeah.
They're not giving their babies pronouns.
The baby can choose.
And the baby
will
will grow up like with green
Baby's called
and
baby.
neutral.
Beige. The beige mums.
Beige, you know, beige
mums.
cream, white. And it's just like...
The baby's baby. The grandmother baby.
The baby is the baby at the end of the day. And it's just like...
Right.
To me, that's extreme. Because I understand exactly where we're coming from on this note. But it's like, this is why they're calling us the Snowflake generation. Because if I'm allowed to ask, what does that, like... What?
No, because do you get? Because it's like, I understand, cool, gender is a social construct, but if they like, let the baby deconstruct the gender. If that's the case, then like, okay.
And it's like, to deviate that far from
it's like, so what? The baby is just baby.
Like, because I feel like that's a bit selfish as well.
I feel like if that's the case,
away
then
from baby identity, let the baby.
If
If
that's the case, then like just let them do both. Like they gave me truck, they gave me doll. Do you get? Like it doesn't now need to be the baby is now pronouncless. The baby's baby.
I feel like it's really dystopian. I feel like a lot of wokeism, like,
it is
gives
though.
me dystopia.
It gives Black Mirror, and it gives like we're gonna get to a point where all zombies and no one has identity again.
Has anything.
I can just de-identify, and that's it. I'm just a white suit. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
Blank.
Black Mirror. New episode in mind.
Right.
That was
Thank
good.
you. Maybe it's already there.
Good though. Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
they have a
think
new
of a
season.
lot, yeah.
They have a new season or something. That's
no bars. Tabula. Did you guys hear that? Tabula Black
rasa.
Mirror. Please, bring the money though. Don't just steal the idea.
You know, don't
just
can we
trademark
patents.
patents.
You can't do anything. I'd be copyrighted. But yeah, I'm like, it's now that I'm sitting here talking to you about it, really like, it's dystopian. It's a bit worrisome. It's a bit scary. But it's like, where do you draw the line?
That's the problem.
Things begin to blur. Like if we look at the extremism and then look at the things before that, you see where it comes from. It's not that it just came out of the blue, out of the black. Like, it was there for a reason. And who can even ever really answer the question, where do you draw the line? I feel like some of us can just feel it within us that that's a drag. Yeah. But not everyone feels that way.
Drag is...
Exactly.
Yeah.
People's drag is different.
So subjective.
So it's just like, who decides and how do we know? I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
All we can do is really just talk about it. Anyway... Again, you mentioned something else, which is what's going to lead into cancel culture. You know, hold tight, we'll get there. You said it gives way to armchair activism, and I really, really liked that because, again, one can sit in their ivory tower and play the game of wokeness because wokeness is a trend.
Evidently.
I'm on my phone in my ivory tower, I'm
Yeah.
going to post Palestine.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone in my ivory tower, I'm going to post Congo. I'm on my phone in my ivory tower,
Same
I'm going
thing,
to post
then they'll come and
racism.
say that guys like, oh, Apple, and like, you know, all of these things and
the
these
same
problems.
Apple
The
phone
same
that
thing
you're
that they're
posting
hyping from.
How much do you really care? And that's the thing. I feel like wokeness doesn't have to come with the feelings. It doesn't have to come with the sentiment. And I feel like that's we already know there's a difference between wokeness and activism. But once upon a time, people were actually active.
The both. Yeah. It was all as one.
As in, like, not
If
only...
you were woke, you were in the street, in the field.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. They were outside on the road, on the street. They had their banners. Granted,
Ready to
maybe
be
they weren't
arrested.
training themselves to anything, and it's like sometimes it gets to that. Sometimes it gets to that before people listen to you. But it's just like sitting on your phone and messaging, like, you know, reposting and stuff is so.
And that's
like,
not even to say
convenient.
that it's not enough, because sometimes the repost.
I feel like it's not
the
anything.
repost, the
sometimes,
repost, the repost. I don't agree. I feel like sometimes there's cumulative like impact, because I'm not saying that like we've established, a lot of people choose to repost out of their own selfishness or like out of their own
That's my
personal
problem.
conviction.
I'm not saying that there's
But-
no tangible effect.
Yeah.
Clearly it worked. I
Yeah.
know about it. Clearly
Yeah.
it worked. People know about
Yeah.
it. But I just feel like for me, I'm coming from an objective, ethical standpoint,
Okay.
as usual.
Yeah.
In a sense that I just don't do it for the sake of doing it.
But I'm saying like the byproduct sometimes is positive. Like whether or not you chose not to do it for the
I feel like that's
chose
an
to do it for the
ethical
sake of
debate in
it.
and of itself. Let me let you finish.
What's the ethical debate?
In
Because
that
now I'm gagged.
is like deontologicalism.
Oh my gosh.
Words and consequentialism. in that, let me. It's okay. Take a
That's
breather.
good.
Take a breather.
Thank you.
Is what is important.
Yeah.
The act in and of itself, or the consequence of the act.
Whew.
And I feel like for me, what's important is the act in and of itself. What does that act constitute? As you're posting, do you care in your heart, or are you just posting for the sake of
I
posting?
feel like
That's okay.
sorry.
Again.
Like what? I feel like that depends on the outcome, because if
So your consequentialist.
what does that mean? Wait, don't like apply labels to me. Because what does that mean? Like,
That's my bad.
what does that mean?
I think, it basically, what I'm trying to say, that I think you think,
Yeah.
is that you don't care about the action in and of itself as long as the consequences are positive, right?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say all that.
Not so much.
But I'm saying that sometimes the positive, whether, for example, in the context we're saying it in, you're saying that if the person doesn't care about Palestine, for example, or care about the activism that they're posting online, they shouldn't post it full stop. And like, from a like, I don't know what the perspective is, but
from
me
the
as my
perspective-
own person, I feel like that's right in terms of, if you don't care, don't post it, because now you're just, this is a facade.
sake.
However, I do agree with the fact that positive outcomes can come from that, because the peer pressure that everybody felt to now post about Palestine now caused such an awareness.
Maybe
and
that will
such a-
change your mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that then causes something that is like, I don't even care if you posted that for selfish reasons or because you're peer pressured, because the positive
worked.
outcome is,
Like
people are getting funding,
it worked.
money is going to certain places. It works. So like, I just feel like it depends on the like the outcome of it, because
That's really
I don't give a heck
teleological.
if you did it for selfishness.
It's a chain reaction.
Yeah. I don't give a heck.
I think it is similar to what I'm saying, but I'm not gonna put labels on you because you never
Thank you.
consented to that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think what you're saying is very much along the lines of, like, even though the action started off as something, it was able to change into something else, and the outcome was what we were looking for. At the end of the day, awareness has been risen and things of that nature. But I think my problem is that it just turns into a trend, and it's like
That's when it becomes
very,
like dangerous.
very quickly, like, you're gonna move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So it's like, to what extent does it have an effect? Maybe in the moment and in the time, but we are going to have another genocide because we didn't care enough.
Yeah. To
Do
stop
you see?
it. Uh-huh.
And I feel like this is the issue with what happened in this country with the race riots. This gets me really heated and really passionate because
Take it away.
one thing about like black people in Britain is I'm gonna start that sentence again.
Yeah. Don't
Because
generalize.
that's how they
drag her.
One thing that I've observed
Yeah.
that I think is the case about black people in Britain and white people in Britain, I think Brits in I want
Brits.
to stop.
Just Brits.
One thing I've observed when it comes to race in the UK is that something has to happen for people to start caring and talking about it. We had to have race riots across the UK in summer for people to start. There were so many posts on social media, and it's September. Like today, nothing.
People are even debating the fact that it was a race riot, but hey, I'm seeing people talk about it wasn't race riots. It was just outraged the death of. Okay, thank you. Okay, you've done enough.
Targeting specific people, but I'm not.
But it's not race riot.
I'm not gonna argue because I already know the answer. So you can argue with your mum.
Fine.
At the end of the day, that's the truth.
Your mother.
Your mother. But what I'm saying is that the result of something like what you were describing is not political apathy, drag, but it's just that you're joining a trend.
It's like desensitization, basically.
Yeah,
like people stop giving a heck.
It's not serious to you anymore
because it's like even though like I've literally had this debate or discussion where people say that even like for example talking about Palestine and the awareness of it and like spreading certain pictures, it becomes desensitizing in the sense that if I'm constantly seeing dead bodies on my For You page, constantly seeing dead bodies on Instagram, am I now going to look at that same dead body with the same level of emotional reaction that I did if it was the first time I'd seen it? No. So it's like awareness also comes with a certain level of like, oh, okay, like get off my screen. And like a lot of people have that reaction where it's like, you saw a large decrease in the amount of people reposting it because even though they might still care about Palestine, might still donate in the background, it's also like okay, cool, we don't need to see this. Do you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate because it's like there's the same argument of, oh, but these people have to see it every day. They don't get a choice to turn off. They don't get a choice to just be like uninstall Instagram.
But I feel like in response to that argument, are you going to say something? Should I
no, go on.
What I want to say in response to that though is there's a difference between watching it on my screen
and real life,
like
living
being there in real life. So yeah, of course in real life I can't turn it off, you're right, but on my phone I can and I will at the end of the day and I will scroll. That's the thing, because it's like it's good saying coulda, woulda, shoulda, but people can. At the end of the day, people who are basic like they're on the land of a genocide. No, they can't.
Of course they can't.
I can. I think we just need to begin to make the difference between what people like ought to do or what people should do
and what they can do
and what like they can do at the end of the day.
Because you also can't fault someone for not wanting to see it on their For You page.
Yeah.
That doesn't automatically mean they're not interested or they don't support it.
Yeah.
It could also just mean that that's a lot.
Yeah.
And if they don't live it, they don't have to live it. If that makes sense.
And I think the other thing that I wanted to touch on...
You didn't go back.
Oh my God.
We're talking about cancel culture.
And no, we're not there yet. Oh, that's what's funny.
Sorry. Okay.
Do you see what's funny?
Slow down.
Do you see how we're not there and it's already creeping into the conversation?
Because like I'm itching for it.
I need to do this setup. I need to do this setup. It's coming.
Cool. Let me just be calm. Be calm.
Calm down. Stuff like this give people the platform to engage in academic conversation. My problem is that it's too accessible because not everybody is an academic, but everybody can present themselves as one.
OMG, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Are you starting?
Don't ruffle my feathers.
Don't know what.
Because I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see another video flipping essay on my TikTok For You page when you're uneducated. You're factually wrong.
You think you know
your buzzwords are wrong. Your terminology is wrong. And it's an insult to people that are paying 9 K to go to university like me to go and study it.
Thank you.
In the articles and in the books. And then I'll come and see you on TikTok talking so that you can just speak crap.
Because you don't know things.
It triggers me, and then because the comments think you're speaking with certain type of diction, that they should come in the comments and they should agree with you. You are wrong. You're just wrong.
I know you're wrong, but you don't even know the extent to which you're wrong because you don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, I'm even disrupting the set because I'm stressed because you're wrong.
And that's what makes me really sad.
And the video will be on 1 million views, and everyone in the comments is like, yeah.
But what did you say? What did you give us?
But you didn't say a thing.
Not much. That leads me.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I just had to get off my chest.
That leads me to the next thing in that not like two things. Not everyone knows what they're talking about and not everyone cares about what they're talking about.
Oh, real.
But we've already touched on that. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Perhaps wokeness is not actually progressive. Why? Because it becomes the only thing that is considered right, which leads to people cancelling people. Once you don't agree with the woke ideology, you're cancelled.
Oh, that's it. Cancelled.
End your career.
Cancelled.
Close your social media page.
Cancelled. Cancelled.
Over it.
Cancelled.
Over it.
Cancelled.
Is it over?
Cancelled.
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 Oh.
Cancelled.
Cancelled.
Thank you.
If you don't agree, with the woke ideology, you're cancelled.
Cancelled.
So how progressive is wokeness if you can't even
I
have
didn't
different...
even think you were
like,
taking it there.
Oh.
I thought you were taking it in the aspect of wokeism being divisive in of itself. Because you'll see like someone getting along, you'll see races getting along, then there'll be the one wokist in the comments, oh, but do you know that their ancestors did... Thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Because everyone was having a good time in the video. And you chose to come in the comments and talk about political activism when it's not the time nor the place.
The children are just playing in the park.
Thank you.
The children are just pushing each other down the slide.
Now it's become
Something else.
race in the comments. And
Is that
now
how-
we're arguing. I just feel like you're right. Wokeism was great for awareness and understanding that these are the social issues that we need to tackle and we need to handle. But I think that's where it should be left at. It shouldn't now be like... Everyone can go into their respective fields of activism and argue for different things.
Yeah.
But as a concept, it shouldn't just be a reminder that you're being oppressed.
Yeah,
like I've seen literal
what does
memes
that
and
do?
posts like, wake up today and remember that
You're oppressed.
you're oppressed and the upper class are oppressing you. Thank you for ruining my day.
And
I'm
that-
so thankful for that.
How effective even is that?
Yeah, it's not. And that's why I was saying the divisive point and the fact that when we just think of all the things that are wrong with the world, like, here we go, and then everyone's going to be fighting and battling. And like you said, the cancel culture aspect, where like, where there's wokeism, there's not avenue for growth, in my opinion, anymore.
I agree.
I feel like you said, once
people are woke, that's it.
Yeah.
And there's
once
no going back. There's
you
no
don't
changing,
agree
there's no
with
deviating.
certain aspects of it, it's now, oh, you're wrong, you're cancelled, and you're a horrible person.
Yeah.
When that's not even... what
Did you
was
even
going
listen
on.
to what
Did
I
you even
said?
pay attention?
Just because it's different to what you've been proclaiming doesn't mean that I'm wrong, by the way.
Yeah,
And my opinion can differ, by the way.
I agree.
And yeah, I think that's just the thing that was really upsetting you, because it's like you're claiming that you're woke, but you're not behaving wokely, if that makes sense. That one didn't land. That one didn't land.
We're not behaving wokely. What is a wokely?
Wokely, in the sense of like, you're claiming, okay, wokeness has connotations of like, you're open to new ideas, you're open-minded, you're inclusive.
You're really
but
awake, alert.
You're just like
You're very close-minded,
a
actually.
quote-unquote liberal version of like, even the conservatives are more open to ideas than you are at this point.
Whew.
Because literally,
Yeah.
and it's like, at this point, like, you have to introspect, do introspection, look at yourself, and a lot of the things is like, you're woke because somebody told you to be.
But this is what I'm saying, like, it gives peer pressure wokeness as well. It just gives, like, echo chamber, like you said. Like, if there's right and wrong, wokeness has been placed on the side of right. Which, once again, people are not interrogating their thought.
They're not interrogating.
So they're not
their thought.
understanding why they agree with certain things or why they feel like this thing is wrong. They just see it as, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm woke. Even like, I don't know if you saw that when they were dragging Claudia for saying that Kemi Badenoch should be disgraced to be a black woman. Bear in mind, Claudia's, I think, Polish or white.
Yeah.
She's white European.
Yeah.
And yeah, people just were taking into account that she's got a black boyfriend and now she's putting herself in black women business and all of these things.
Okay.
And arguably that was a woke take, because before she defended herself, people were saying that, why did you even say that? Like, do you even know why people are against Kemi Badenoch and why like people don't stand for what she stands for? Which everyone has a reason to be against that woman. But it also just gives like, yeah, she's a member of the Conservative Party, she's a black woman, therefore let's hate her.
Yeah.
Which isn't the inherent problem, it's what she stands for.
Yeah.
That is the issue. But a lot of people don't know that because the internet have told you that Kemi Badenoch is a bad
we
black
don't like
woman.
her, therefore
that's it.
everybody
she's
say we don't
cancelled.
like her.
Do you get?
Do you even know why?
Yeah.
You don't
So it's
know.
just like things like that make you realize like a lot of people don't know what they're advocating for or what they
Yeah.
even stand for. It just
Yeah.
this is what we see as right and this is what we see as wrong.
Just slap the
and
word woke and everyone thinks everything's okay, and that's just not
Yeah.
how it works. Like, that's just not how it works. Do you have anything to add on this note before we move on to the final like thought experiment-esque
No,
thing?
I think we like covered it.
I feel like we covered a lot.
We have.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Cool. The thought experiment.
I've been waiting to play. I've literally been waiting to play.
You've definitely heard of this thought experiment before. Plato's analogy of the cave.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I wanted like a fun one.
You wanted
That's
a different
alright.
one. You wanted something else. I'm sorry, this is the
Something
only
niche.
thing. This is the only thing that I can think of. There is
Yeah.
another thought experiment I have in the mind.
No,
but
go with
it's
this one. I want to see where you're taking this.
okay. I can run the other one as well
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the concept of Plato's analogy of the cave for the listeners is that prisoners are locked in a cave facing a wall. They live their entire lives mistaken shadows on the wall cast by a fire for reality. When one prisoner escapes and sees the world outside, they gain a deeper understanding of truth but struggle to convey this to those who are still living in the cave. I think this parallels the ascent, where the higher levels of awareness create both enlightenment and alienation, similar to the process of wokeness. Let's unpack the analogy, I think. So, who's the prisoner? Who's the prisoner and who is the one that, went outside and who's the one that went inside? And it's a thing where...
He's the one that
went inside. And it's a thing where Plato used this to explain why people who know things are superior.
Yeah.
And I think that's the aspects that I want to touch on. If
it's actually superiority.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like before you get to that point, when I was linking it to the wokeness aspect, you're so right, where let's take the discussion we've had out of it and just take wokeness for what it should be, in an ideal world.
Yes,
I'm aware of this and this is the reality of the situation. And then going back to people who are uneducated and be like, actually, this is the case. This is what we see it for and this is the reality. And I really agree with the alienation point, because I feel like once you know a certain level of reality and the society we live in, it's low-key kind of dark. Like, you start to genuinely feel like people have a very optimistic mindset of the world, and you just don't, because you know the harsh truths of it, and then everyone kind of sees you as the Debbie Downer. But really and truly, I'm just being realistic, or basically being a realist. And then linking that to the superior point, I feel like people who are educated do see themselves as above to a degree, because it's like, I have this information that you don't. But the problem with the wokeism, when we now bring in the context of this conversation, is people who are wrongly educated, or I don't want to say wrong, but
blindly?
Differently. Like, educated with inflammatory remarks, or educated with
TikTok.
Or what's
TikTok
that word?
You, basically.
What's that word? Something bolic. Hyperbolic. So I was going to say parabolic. That's not
okay.
Guys, English is
it's okay. You can say
me.
whatever you choose.
Hyperbolic.
That's fine. Yeah.
Concepts. Yeah. People who've been educated with hyperbolic concepts that allow them to think that what they're saying is now defined on one truth.
Yeah.
People who have been educated by with hyperbolic, not parabolic.
Yes.
Terminology, or just realities. I don't even know what the point was. I don't even know where I'm going. I don't know where I am.
That's really sad.
I'm in the road.
I think I remember.
Where was I? Where was the point?
Because we were talking about how people think that they're better than other people.
That's it. Okay,
Great.
cool. Back to the start. So, as I said, people who have been educated with
Yes.
hyperbolic terminologies or realities, it's very easy to then think that you're above someone based on what you think you know, when your knowledge could be built on false foundations or shaky foundations anyways. So that whole idea of Plato saying that, the people who've gone out the cave and now have seen the reality of the world are now superior, arguably no, because you just think you know more, not actually knowing more. You just have certain biased information that makes you think you're above other people.
That's the thing, and that's even links to literally the episode that you mentioned earlier about knowledge. Literally, we don't know anything. And it's like the person with the most influence can convince you of their idea, if that makes sense. So that just really just dismantles the whole notion of everything at the end of the day. So we just really have what we have to work with, because we can't say that because no one knows anything, we can't do anything. We have to work with something. But I think people need to be mindful of the fact that you're not right objectively. There is nothing to verify your rightness. So tread carefully and also be open to alternative ideas. But I think wokeism, because the problem with wokeism is that not even wokeism. I feel like the problem with every single ideology is that they think they're right and that nothing can get better than that. And I think wokeism specifically is so right in a sense that it contradicts everything that is already laid out. That's why it's even more right, if that makes sense, because it really goes against the grain a lot of the time. But yeah, I don't know. I have nothing more to add. I'm sorry about the allegory.
No, I want to understand why you picked that one.
Because
like, what did you link it to?
The cave analogy
yeah,
is literally, I think, a representation of the people who think that they're woke, if that makes sense. So they come out and then they come back and you're trying to convince other people, and we're not hearing it.
We're not hearing it.
Yeah, like you believe that you're a philosopher king.
Okay.
And you think that like your thoughts and your ideas are the best in the world, so therefore you should rule over everybody else. That's the conclusion that Plato comes to. And I find that very interesting, but again, very dystopian, very scary.
But do you not think that the philosophers were awake? Because sometimes I see philosophy and I'm just like, you thought you
lot think
like you guys think you knew the most in the whole world.
Yeah, that's
and arguably people could say that wokeism has existed far beyond like all of this stuff, because like, the philosophers literally were the epitome of woke. Like, what do you mean you had a manic episode and now you've realised the reality of the world? Who are you?
Oh my gosh. You know, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Like, wokeism, not even in the sense that it was originally intended. Wokeism in the sense that we're looking at it now, as in you're going against the grain. You think you're right.
Yeah.
As in, like, Plato came along and he said the world doesn't exist. You're all joking. Like, you're all pranks.
And we said okay.
And he got pissed off because nobody listened to him. And he said, "I'm the best. I'm philosopher king." You're right.
The philosopher king.
I'm the best. I'm the philosopher king.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Wokeism. Because I feel like I've been speaking about it as if wokeism is a new concept. Like, this is something that we just developed.
Because the same way you view wokeism now, it could be like 50 years from now, the woke people are actually going to be the like philosophers of the next gen. Have you heard of the Overton window? Overton window. Is it Overton?
Do I say it wrong?
It's Overton.
That's how we say it.
I say Overton.
She said Overton.
Yeah, you said it right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not Overton.
Overton?
Yeah, Overton window.
Have you heard of it?
I have.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's what it is.
What do you mean?
In the sense that, like, the window
shifts.
of wokeism keeps
shifting. Yeah.
So, because the way I've been talking about it is as if the window just came.
It's just
but
new.
It's just been shifted.
And we've given it different labels across time.
Ooh, and it's been looking different.
Wokeism now is literally just philosophy. If we're really going to take it
Not
it
necessarily.
Is. No,
That's
it
a
is.
word.
It is.
That's a word.
It's people thinking that they know the things.
But I don't think that's what philosophy is. Like, no, because now I'm going to argue. I don't think that's what philosophy is at all.
You guys don't think you're the best?
No, because I think, you know, in the realm of philosophy, I think there are people who are woke and there are people who are just normal people who are engaging in philosophy. Because I feel like a lot of people,
To
and I'm not continuing speaking now. Because I think there are a lot of people who mistake the concept of philosophy. A lot of people think philosophy is gospel. I disagree. I think philosophy is a constant conversation in that nobody's ever going to know the right answer, but we can work our way towards it by cancelling out what we think collectively is wrong.
Okay.
If that makes sense. But a lot of people take this to the extreme and begin to say, so this is the ideology that I came up with. I think it makes a lot of sense, and therefore I'm right. Okay. And it's just like, no, let's look at that. Let's interrogate that. Let us see if we can build on that. That's what I think philosophy is. Philosophy is literally just thoughts. It's like called the love of wisdom for a reason. You just want to know. But people think that even philosophers think that philosophers are right and they have the ultimate answer to huge questions in the world. And I just don't agree with that. I think it's really about, like, just thinking a lot, but never coming to any sort of conclusion, which can seem pointless to various people. But, you know, yeah, I'm enough with my subject, so I'm not woke.
You are there.
Woke has negative connotations.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's now wrong. It just has negative connotations. Because I think philosophers are woke. Or they think.
I can sit here and argue with you the whole time. Like, I
I'm
don't
just
want
saying.
you to say that.
But it's my opinion.
Oh my god.
It's my opinion.
Wait, no.
Sorry.
Wokeism. The concept of it. Okay, people thinking that, like, they're right. Is that... Wait, no, that's not it. I
sent her to spiral. She's gagged. She's gagged.
It's like I literally defined myself, but suddenly I don't know.
All of a sudden, now you did it again.
I went for like an hour. You don't know what wokeism is. Okay.
Okay.
Philosophers are woke.
Yeah, that's my statement.
That's how you're leaving this episode.
Yes.
You can't
Beat me.
do that. Okay, guys. Okay,
guys. No, they are.
That's a justification. I feel like because
Philosophers
I think it's the negative
speak on
connotations.
issues that are trivial, arguably,
Yeah.
and create problems out of thin air that they now require to solve. That's literally what we've discussed about wokeism. There are people who create problems out of thin air and choose to solve it.
The only reason why I agree with you, is because once upon a time the only form of knowledge was philosophy.
Yeah.
So
Or
it's
like legitimate form.
Yeah. That was such a Western claim.
Yeah, real.
Like, oh my gosh. But I think it's unfair to equate wokeism to philosophy.
Why?
When there's no everything, like racism is philosophy too. Then, well, not racism. Maybe that's a bad
But
example.
Do you think everything
but
comes under
everything like philosophy therefore
Exists
claims
in, like,
everything.
maths.
Then, if that makes sense, everything just stemmed out of and broke off from philosophy because everything was just like a interrogation of some specific aspects. That's how we got astronomy. Somebody wanted to look at the stars. That's how we got maths.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's like,
But I'm saying like when we think of maybe people do think of maths when they think of philosophy, but I'm saying in its purest form, like if we could equate something almost bar for bar, wokeism and philosophy to me could go bar for bar.
philosophy now.
Not now, but I'm saying like what they were doing at that time when they were philosophizing.
But they had no.
Sorry, I was gonna say philosophizing are favorite. Did you clock me there? Anyways, but yeah, when they were doing all of that, philosophy talk, in my head it's the same vibe as like someone coming online and being like, actually, that's it. I'm not giving my baby a gender. The baby's baby.
I feel like you can
Is
argue
this-
about
Every time I say this, yeah. So
The
baby's baby.
it up, man. Nah, man.
Yeah, we're going in circles, but
Going
yeah.
in circles, but okay, cool.
I don't even know where you're gonna cut this and restart it.
You said I'm cutting it.
Oh, gag. The baby's baby.
Guys, I don't know where the conversation ended up, but like
Somehow
the truth is,
we began to debate.
Hopefully you followed the conversation.
The baby's baby. That's the gag.